3,000 years ago, according to the legends, there were gods in the heaven, deities who lived in the mountains, and evil spirits which hid in the caves and ancient tombs. The normal humans lived on the vast land on earth. The gods and deities, human beings, and evil spirits each lived in their own realms peacefully. But suddenly one day, a gust of wind swirled from the heaven and swept across the earth, stirring up a series of war. It all began with the last emperor of the Shang dynasty, King Zhou. King Zhou claimed his throne by accident. He saved the previous old king from a falling pillar and thus was appointed to be the next king. He was a great and hard-working king in the beginning and ruled his country Zhao peacefully with his loyal officials. However, as time went by, King Zhou gradually became materialistic. He demanded to eat with chopsticks made from ivory, drink from cups carved from the horns of the rhinoceros. He was often angry and would not listen to what others had to say. He would do whatever he wished. One day, King Zhou held a great feast from morning till night. While he was enjoying his wine and food, one of the royal officials began to speak.
Your Majesty, today is the 15th day of the 3rd lunar month, which is the birthday of the goddess Nuwa. It is a very important day for Your Majesty to pay respects to the goddess and pray for the peace of your people. We must proceed immediately before dawn falls.
However, King Zhou was reluctant and refused. He decided to go hunting instead. No officials dared to stop the king, but escorted him to the forest for his hunt instead. Not long after, the king's carriage arrived in the forest. In a little cave under the big pine tree, a little white fox was spotted. It was grooming itself by licking its beautiful white silky fur. It had a long fluffy tail, and on its forehead was a beautiful red mark. King Zhou was mesmerized by the little white fox and wanted to make a fur ball out of its skin. He drew his bow and arrow and made a shot at his prey. The arrow hit the fox's foot and ripped off a patch of skin. The injured little animal hurriedly escaped into the deep forest. The king and his huntsmen chased after the injured fox, but very soon lost sight of it. They came upon a road that led them to a shrine called the Nuwa Palace. It was no coincidence that King Zhou was led to the Nuwa Goddess Palace on the day which he refused to offer his respect. There was a mysterious force that lured King Zhou to enter the Nuwa Palace. As he entered the palace, a welcoming sense from the air caught him by surprise. Pure white curtains flowed from the top beams to the floor, and a gentle breeze blew in, revealing a beautiful white statue behind the curtains. King Zhou took a closer look. It was a jade statue of a beautiful lady. The king was mesmerized by the beauty. His royal official interrupted his admiration and reminded the king to pay his respect to the goddess Nuwa. Instead of paying his respect, King Zhou drew his sword and made a few quick strokes on the statue altar. He carved a short poem which said, "If only the statue could come alive, I would surely make her the queen of my kingdom." Upon seeing the disrespectful words for the goddess, the royal official hurriedly covered the vandalized altar with a cloth. Suddenly, the weather began to change into a huge thunderstorm. The heavenly gods were outraged. Little did the king know that his thoughtless, disrespectful action had unveiled the greatest war in history. That day marked the beginning of the Great War between good and evil.